Last time on Square Roots, we blow up Jack's childhood, go all Dr. Phil on Jacob, and tell the Quarians that they can't handle the truth. Later, we help Zaid kill his old business partner, help Garrus kill his old squad member, and help Samara kill her daughter. Making friends is fun!
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by John Shadowbroker Brandon.
I'm the smoochabiliest Shadowbroker.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
Matthew is absent this week as he has not and refuses to play the DLCs, which is what we're going to be talking about this episode. This is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs, like Mass Effect 2.
Yay! Oh, I was thinking, since we've covered the DLCs this episode, I was thinking instead of after the next episode starting Final Fantasy VIII, maybe we could do like a couple more Mass Effect 2 episodes.
That's a great idea. I'm sure that there are some like deep lore dives that we can get into.
The comics.
And the comics. Maybe we can revisit all of Mass Effect 1 and like which decisions impacted what in Mass Effect 2.
Yep. Maybe fan fiction.
Some fan fiction would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Both reading and also writing some more of the Square Roots patented Elcor erotica, I think would be great. Maybe a full episode on that, frankly. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
Well, and I definitely want to talk about how the Dragon Age ogre ended up in Hawk's statuary there.
That's a great, we should really consider, like, is Dragon Age a planet in the Mass Effect galaxy?
Oh, interesting.
And the magic is just, sufficiently advanced, technology, or biotics or something.
Yeah, biotics.
That explains everything.
That does explain everything.
Basically, my plan is to just delay doing Final Fantasy VIII forever?
No, that's our next game, John. Time to join Seed and do whatever we do in that game.
It's called Seed? Come on.
I don't wanna.
It's called Seed, and you go to school in a thing called a garden.
And Robin Williams is your headmaster.
Robin Williams, yep. Good old Goodwill Hunting. There's a lot going on in that game. I don't understand it. I'm going to be honest. I don't understand Final Fantasy VIII. Honestly, I guess we'll get into it.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We're going to do a whole series on it. But before we dive into the intricacies of the Mass Effect 2 DLCs, why don't we talk about how we leveled up?
I would love to.
Vanessa, I would love to hear how you leveled up.
Well, here it comes. Girl games time to review girl games. I'm playing girl games. It's the genre that doesn't exist. It's just something that men like to call games to help them with their toxic masculinity by dismissing any games that don't adhere to their standards. Girl games! As everyone is already aware, I have been on a Regency era kick. I can't get enough of that Empire-wasted, buttoned-up, tea time in the drawing room, awkward declarations of love stuff. So I thought, I wonder if there's an RPG I can play set in the Regency era. And guess what? There is. It's called Regency Love. Which is a terrible title.
Yeah, that's very on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, at least it sort of gives you an idea of what you're gonna get.
I mean, it's pretty good SEO.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a Regency game.
I mean, I guess it's no different than calling your game like Doomhammer or Alien Blast or something like that, you know?
Gloomhaven.
Dragon Age.
Yeah. I mean, it really, it summons an image in the mind, and it delivers. Regency Love is a game for the iOS system, made by, I think, 3 women who just kind of felt like doing it. And it's a interesting mashup of the graphic novel, the #1 genre of girl games, or interactive novel, I guess they're called. Is that what you want to call it? And an RPG. The RPG elements come in the form of bullshit mini games, like playing Hangman or answering trivia about Jane Austen and the Regency era. And then you can use those points that you get from doing these activities to increase your stats in dancing, drawing, needlework, and other important categories for a sophisticated lady to excel in. So you do that. You also get to know the town, and there are a few different story threads, and 2 fine gentlemen that you can court for the low price of, I think, $5.
Is it Mr. Sardi and Mr. I don't know the other guy from that story.
It's essentially Mr. Darcy and Colonel Brandon, but, not literally.
Colonel Sanders?
Colonel
Brandon, of course, from Sense and Sensibility, as portrayed by Alan Rickman.
Is he a relative of mine?
Film. Alan Rickman? I have no idea.
No, Colonel Brandon. God.
Well, that's your
Colonel
own
Brandon
business.
is a fictional character.
Yeah. So, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I say that Colonel Brandon is one of the people that you can romance because the creator of the game just drew Alan Rickman. Like, it's just Alan Rickman as Colonel Brandon. Like, there's no question. Like, I know what Alan Rickman looks like. Everyone knows. And if you look at the picture of this person in this game, it's just Alan Rickman, which is fine. I don't have a problem with Alan Rickman.
Is his hair Severus levels of swoopy? Is it sort of high and tight?
That's an interesting question. I will say that although I said it was Colonel Brandon because that is his, like, I guess, preeminent Austen role, there is a lot of Snapeishness, too. He's very, like, broody and moody, and he's, like, tormented by his past love and all of that bullshit. I played through both the storylines. I did not like romancing this Alan Rickman guy. He was way too much drama, too tortured, too much trouble. But I sent a picture to the chat so you can have a good look at him.
Oh, that's just a picture of Alan Rickman.
That's what I'm telling you. That's just a picture of Alan Rickman.
And his hair is definitely Snape length.
It is. It looks good.
I mean, he looks fine. I don't have a problem with it. As I said before, I don't have a problem with Alan Rickman. Let me send you a picture of Alan Rickman as Colonel Brandon.
Okay, that's really weird that he has my last name.
Why?
I don't know. There's not that many famous Brandons.
Oh.
There's plenty of famous Brandons. There's the guy from Beverly Hills 90210.
As a last name.
I guess that's true. What's it like to have 2 first names, John?
Well, my dad's original last name was Shivitz, which is, of course, Krzyiwiec, and he found that people didn't pronounce it very well in England, and that people were for some reason in the 50s and 60s, very hesitant to treat him well with a last name like that.
Oh.
How interesting. I wonder what it could have been.
So he decided to change it to something that was high up in the alphabetical order, but not A, because that would have been cheating, he thought. So like one back from A, and then something that sounded very English. Him and his brother, they both changed their names.
Should have gone for Banks. It's a good one.
It's a fine, upstanding, unquestionable name.
Mm-hmm.
Where from does your family hail? Why, the banks of the river, of course. It's me, Jim Banks.
James Banks.
Anyway, I enjoyed playing Regency Love. It's very cozy. It's like make yourself a cup of tea and have a tea time RPG romance good time. Some of the storylines aren't fully completed. I think this really was like a passion project of someone's. But I would love to see a more fully fleshed out Regency era role-playing game where you play as a woman trying to secure a match, because why not? Like, tell us those harrowing kitchen sink stories and give me my stats in socializing and tea sipping and picnicking and charitableness and everything else. I want to see it.
You know what? I've always wanted to be able to do an Alan Rickman impression. I feel like an Alan Rickman impression, like just busting out an Alan Rickman impression, would be a very powerful thing to do in most, if not all, situations.
What in your realm of experience could give you possible fodder to say with an Alan Rickman voice, Jim
You
Banks?
don't have, see, like, a good Alan Rickman impression, the right level of, like, your voice has to be low enough, but also nasally enough.
Yeah.
And also, like, you have to be able to broadcast it very well.
What are you going to do, Jim? Tell people about how you went to the Wendy's talking like this?
The only person I have ever heard do a serviceable Alan Rickman impression was Cumby Dick Benderbatch.
He did an Alan Rickman impression?
He did.
On Saturday Live?
No, like just on a talk show or something.
Oh, okay.
He's like, here's my
like
party trick.
They have similar voices, I think.
I think that Bunderbone Honey Patch's dream is to like be the new Alan Rickman.
Bunderbung. I could see that, Vanessa. I think those are very big shoes to fill.
They are very big shoes to fill.
Alan
not
Rickman
literally.
has
He's
a
an
warmth
actor. He was a
that
small man.
Bunderbung does not.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Rickman just like you know, you don't really want to hang out with a guy because like he seems like kind of a jerk, but also he seems like, you know, very like you want his approval,
right? If not his company. You know what I think the secret to Alan Rickman is?
What's that?
I believe his secret is that he did not star in a film or act in a film at all until he was 40. And I think
that's interesting.
Didn't start in theater until he was like 30. Like he tried to have a normal life. So I think he sort of was able to develop into a person before he became an actor.
Yeah. You could tell you could tell that he just has like a presence always. Also in that last picture you posted in the group chat, that is a handsome gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He looks great in that photo. Wow.
I don't remember how old he was, but it is one of the few films I can think of where he plays like a romantic character too.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
But I don't think that Bumblebee Curdlecorn could really. I think Bumblebee Curdlecorn would take roles that Alan Rickman would not. Like, I cannot see Alan Rickman doing that Sherlock scene where he was like going through nonsense words to figure out what hound meant.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman would just be like, you know, looking up into the, you know, just giving that disdainful stare to the camera.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do
this. And be like, no.
With that mostly bored look that he has. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Sense and Sensibility with Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, what's her name? Miss Titanic herself, Kate
Blanchett?
Titanic. No, it's not Kate Blanchett. Kate
Winslet.
Kate Winslet, yes.
Kate Winslet.
I could do the W sound, but couldn't finish it.
And Hugh
Laurie.
Hugh
Jackson.
Stammerman. Not Hugh Jackman. Hugh, like
Lewis and the News.
No, the guy who like, oh dear.
Hugh Grant.
Yes, that one. It's a great movie.
Hugh Dancy.
Hugh Dancy, yes. 12-year-old Hugh Dancy also stars in this film. But yeah, you know what? Austen can be hard. It's a hard genre to get into. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. But I would say that if you have any curiosity at all, and you don't want to read the books, because why would you? If you wanted to, you would have done it by now. Check out Sense and Sensibility. It's a quick movie. It's easy to understand, and there are enough characters that if you hate one, you can just watch the other ones.
Isn't the lady who played Hammer in Fable 2 and was in AbFab, wasn't she in one of those?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, they make them all the time. They're great stories.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice is, of course, the one that everyone talks about. I have my preferences, and they sometimes lean that way and sometimes not. But there are also some obscure ones that are very interesting, like Persuasion, which is about a girl who falls in love with this naval guy, but he's not really rich enough, and her family convinces her not to be with him, and then she just spends years in misery. It's great. I'm not a terribly romantic person most of the time, but for whatever reason, sometimes I get that itch, and I gotta scratch it with some Regency love, and that's how I leveled up.
The first Jane Austen book that I really read and was like, oh, I really like this, was Emma.
Emma's great. It's funny, and it's it's more comedic, I would say, than some of her other things. I love the BBC Pride and Prejudice miniseries. Some people love it, some people hate it. I hate the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice movie.
Oh, interesting. Why?
I think because I liked the miniseries so well, and the movie it didn't quite resonate the same way for me. I found that people either tend to love one or the other, but not both. So,
can I ask, do you enjoy Pride and Prejudice and zombies?
To a certain extent. I think that the joke wears a little thin. You know, it's
I remember, I think I saw 15 or 20 minutes of that movie, and I was just like, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things. I remember when the book came out, and it was in every Barnes and Noble, front and center. And I never thought of it as a book you would buy for yourself. It's oh, I know someone, and they like Jane Austen, or they like zombies, and this is funny, and I'll buy this for them. But I feel like the title did a lot of work.
And that's what I was just going to say, the Pride and Prejudice and zombies and the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, that genre, the title is the joke.
Right.
And then trying to do a story about it is just it's you don't need to do that.
Right.
Wasn't that Sharknado and all those things too, where it's kind of
Sharknado is kind of a different thing, because it's people liked the whole thing very ironically, and it was full of the humor that would reward just kind of not giving a shit but still watching it.
I think it's sort of like a Chuck Tingle book. You know, the title is the joke, and then I think that the books, quote unquote, themselves are usually just a few pages long, right?
I mean, they're books, aren't
they? Are they explicit?
I don't think so.
I thought they were, but not in a way that anyone would actually find erotic.
Are you talking about Chuck the Tinglers or these historical?
Talking about the Tinglers.
Well, that's what Chuck Tingle books are called. Are Tinglers, guys?
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh,
yeah,
are you,
Tinglers.
John, talking about Jane Austen books?
No. I'm talking about
the
Tinglers.
horror spin-off books, the horror satire ones.
I'm talking about his actual books. I've never read. I've only looked at the titles.
They're like books.
I
Like,
thought
don't
they
know
were
how
just a
long
few
they are.
pages.
They're 37
they're
pages.
They're like novelettes, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
This has been a very, you know what? Good level up, Vanessa.
Thank you. I think we've all learned a lot.
Yeah.
I got to talk about one of my favorite subjects, why people call things girl games and how it just feeds into toxic masculinity.
Oh, can I mention one more Alan Rickman adjacent thing?
Yes,
Please
you
do.
can, Jim
I
Banks.
saw the other day that they were talking about a script for a Galaxy Quest 2 movie, and at first I was like, oh, well, that sounds okay except for Tim Allen. And then I was like, wait, Alan Rickman's dead. He was like the best part of that first movie.
He's what?
Yeah, R.I.P. Alan Rickman. He died almost exactly a year ago, or 4 years ago. I'm sorry, but like, why make a Galaxy Quest movie if you don't have Alan? If you need to double up on the Tim Allen to make up for Alan Rickman, you're making a poor film.
I mean, everyone was good in that, except for, of course, Tim Allen. Although Tim Allen was enjoyable in that, I will say. It's like the one time I've found him
That's the
fine.
frustrating thing about Tim Allen is he can be so likable in his movies, but he just seems like such a kind of a shitty person.
I mean, it would be horribly easy if all the shitty people were just, like, untalented and you didn't enjoy watching them. But
That's a great point.
unfortunately, that is not the case.
You know, when I was over Christmas, I thought that I would fire up that like Tim Allen Santa Claus movie, and wow, that movie is like, it's not bad, it's depressing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not that. They should just stop talking about that movie like forever, especially around the holidays. It's really bad.
Well, and that's part of the thing about cancel culture, right? Let's talk about cancel culture. That's what people tune into here. I never think of it as a culture. I just think of it as like, once you know something about someone, it is not enjoyable to watch them anymore. Many times. You know, not universally, but I think I've talked on this show before about how many Kevin Spacey movies I like really loved, and now I can't enjoy them. And it sucks, but it's not because I'm like, you canceled. It's like, you canceled yourself. Like, you did something egregious enough to mar my impressions of you, so I can't suspend my disbelief of you performing as an actor, and I don't want to look at your dumb face.
Yeah, like I know people who lobbied for like Tim Allen's sitcom, whatever it's called, Last Man Standing, where he's like a dude who's beset upon by daughters and a wife. Oh my god!
Oh no!
But like when that got canceled because Tim Allen's shitty, like I know people who lobbied for that to stay on the air, and like it's still on the air. Maybe it's doing its final season this year or something, but like it sucks to want to like put that fake reality ahead of like actual reality,
right?
Like where like his views actually damage real people. No matter how much he makes you laugh on TV, like he sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's the same with like J.K. Rowling, right? Like a lot of people, Harry Potter meant a whole bunch to them, but her actions are contributing to actual policy and law in the UK that are really harming people. So it becomes like a thing of like, I guess, like, who else can we use an example? Like Orson Scott Card or someone. You can be like, well, he's entitled to his opinion, which is, you know, true or not. It depends on your perspective. But I personally, my suspension of disbelief barely exists in the first place. You know, it's like I'm one of those people who is always imagining the craft service table just off to the side and anything I see. Yeah. And so it's like, if you do something to break that even further, I just can't as a consumer enjoy it. And I don't have to buy your shit because that's America.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Tim Allen specifically is that like after he came out as like, you know, being kind of a shitty misogynist, really, you look back on his his entire filmography, and like he was barely playing a character.
Right.
Like he's always, that's the only thing he's ever done, really. And like that just, it like I can't watch Tim Allen shit anymore, because like that's all he knows how to do is like be like, you know, a shitty white alpha male who like really hates all the women around him for various reasons in various degrees. Like it's like Tim Allen is that weird thing where like, oh, we're like, oh, that's why he played those parts so well, is because like that's who he is.
I feel like that happens a lot, though, and I hate it, because now it's like, if I see someone who does like a really great villainous role, I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, and I don't want to think that way.
In real life.
Yeah, which is, of course, not true of everybody. But definitely any of those roles that were sort of predicated on, this is funny because this guy is awful. I think, for one thing, comedy has moved away from that. You know, like that sort of Married with Children kind of Archie Bunker thing. Young people don't like that anymore, which is fine. Comedy evolves with every generation. But also, it does make you kind of wonder of like, how much of this is you putting on this character, and how much of this is like, this is what I really think, but now I'm using the joke as a way to like say it in a socially acceptable way.
Yeah, or they like heighten the reality just enough to make you like be able to laugh at it. But it's like, it's still pretty sad. Yeah,
it is. John, what are your thoughts on cancel culture?
Level ups?
Okay, John, how did you level up?
I leveled up. Wow, this feels like a real swing. I leveled up by buying a cute clock.
Wow, John.
I can imagine as Vanessa and I continued our talk about cancel culture, John's like, man, this clock story is just not gonna be enough.
Yeah, no. Time's running out for your clock story.
I bought a cute clock.
Tell us about your cute clock. For the listener, John has been anticipating the delivery of this cute clock for quite some time now. Well, first you were pondering whether or not you should buy it. And then you did, and then it was just a countdown until the clock arrived.
And it's here, and it is adorable.
It looks great. It's really cool.
So it's a Game & Watch, the Super Mario Brothers 35th Anniversary Edition. So it's shaped like the 1980s Game & Watch, and it has like a functional D-pad and B and A buttons, and it will play. It's got a little LCD screen that will play Super Mario Brothers and I believe Super Mario Brothers 2 Lost Levels, as well as the Game & Watch game Ball from back in the day.
But it's not watch sized. It's much larger, right?
It's the size of, let's see. It's bigger than a credit card, like the original size of the original iPhone, I would say.
Okay.
So it's about that big. But the screen on it is very small. The screen is like, 2 inches diagonally, I would say.
Yeah, it looks like an iWatch screen.
Yeah, yeah. And the screen is gorgeous. Like, and it doesn't look like one of those LCD screens that's too bright. It's like really nice contrast and looks good from all different angles. And it's like super fat, like smooth and fast. And, so the main thing that I like, and I saw someone named Ray Barnhold, who's someone I've been following on Twitter forever. He did this cause people were like, oh, I just want to buy it and keep it in the packaging. He's like, no, I'm going to buy it and put it on my desk cause it's a clock. If you plug it in, it just acts like a desk clock. And, the numbers are made out of Mario bricks or sometimes coins if Mario hits a POW thing. And the idea is that Mario is just constantly walking across the screen, but, during different times of day, it will randomly add in things like enemies for him to attack or power-ups, or sometimes like he'll go down a pipe and go down to underwater, he'll go up into the clouds, and just lots of like random events happen throughout the day. And it's really adorable.
You took a little video of it. I saw Mario like moonwalking across the screen. It was great.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, and like the Yoshis come in to change the hour. And sometimes Bullet Bills show up and start shooting across the screen. And I saw a Hammer Brothers earlier today show up. And sometimes Mario can get killed and just dies and then comes back. It's just a lot of fun. It's a really adorable little clock. And I love the old Game & Watch things because my brother had one and my dad had one, like the old 80s ones. And I just thought they were super cool.
Does it make noise? Does it do like, oh no?
No, it'll just, right. I haven't played the games on it. I got to admit, I've just been using it as a clock, but the only thing it does is a second tick, like those old Game & Watch sounds. So it's like that really early 80s style beep, beep. But I turned that off because it was a little obnoxious. So it's silent at the moment, but it doesn't have any of the later Mario stuff like digitized voices or anything. It's only
me.
Game & Watch sounds and original Mario NES sounds. So yeah, that was my little thing that I got. And I watched more Ted Lasso. That show is...
Why do you say lasso like that?
Because I said Lasso at first.
Why'd you say Lasso?
I don't
Theodore Lasso.
I just said it wrong. Ted Lasso is a good show. I'm enjoying it. It's very sweet, but it also... it takes some weird turns. It seems like it's just going to be like a goofy Schitt's Creek style comedy, but sometimes it just gets serious and sometimes it's very silly and it kind of goes all over the place in a way. Like when one of the characters gets super depressed, it seems very strange and sad.
What's it about?
So it's based on characters from Sportsnet that existed before the show, and I don't know what those characters were. I haven't seen it, but it's about
Sportsnet.
It's a channel. It's a sports channel, right?
Like a European sports channel?
No,
are you talking about Sports Center?
It's maybe Sports Center. Yeah.
Sports Center is like the ESPN flagship program where it's all like sports news.
Yeah. So it's a character who showed up, I think, as a joke character on Sports Center, maybe?
Oh, okay.
But they gave him a dramedy TV show. It's about a football coach from the United States who is a very optimistic, positive guy. He is played by Jason Sudeikis. And he is hired by this lady who runs a football club out in England, like one of the Premier League football clubs, to be their manager because she saw him on YouTube and he's like a viral meme star because he's does silly dances with to encourage his players, and he's really good at coaching, but also because she wants to run the football club into the ground because he only coached American football. And hires him to coach.
So it's like the
English
producers.
Football. Exactly, because she just got divorced from her husband, played by Anthony Head, who cheated on her the whole time and then was the worst person. And the only thing she got in the divorce was the football club. And the only revenge she knows how to get is to destroy the thing he loves.
Ah, interesting. It's interesting casting since Anthony Head is the best person, from what I understand.
Yeah, he's playing a very nasty man.
Oh, no.
And the lady who owns the football club is not Broadway, like a London. What's the London version of Broadway?
The West End.
And she's very, very good. She's the best character on the show. But, so it's sort of about this guy coming in and everyone in England hates him because he's a joke. He doesn't know anything about English football. And, he's trying to get the team together, but his optimism and skill, at, helping players, seems to be helping, the team start to come together.
Oh, no, but that's the opposite of what she wanted.
And I think she might start to like him a little bit, too, but he's going through a real rough divorce.
Bummer.
Or end of relationship.
What's more beautiful than when two gay divorcees come together?
Mm-hmm. But he just slept with her friend, so I don't know if that's going to happen.
Oh no, spoiler alert.
I know.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's a fun show. I recommend it. Jim, what about you? How do you level up?
I watched a movie. I don't know if a lot of our listeners have heard, but Warner Brothers is doing this thing where they're releasing like their biggest movies simultaneously in theaters and limited runs, maybe, and also on HBO Max. And the first movie to be released this year, as part of that program, is a movie called The Little Things, starring Denzel Washington and Rami Malek and Jared Leto. It's like a serial killer detective film where, you know, Denzel Washington's the old haunted detective haunted by a past case. Rami Malek's a new young hotshot. And Jared Leto is playing a fucking creep because that's who Jared Leto is in real life.
He is. He has like a yoga cult.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has like a legitimate cult.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. He's a cult leader.
Oh. Well, that's not good.
No. But, I mean, luckily the movie is bad. And so, I know I don't have to praise a production that Jared Leto was in, even though, like, the movie's pretty aggressively boring. It wears itself out really fast, and Jared Leto is so much different from the other characters. Like, you're kind of like, all right, where's this thing going? It's not a good movie. It seems like if HBO or if Warner Brothers wasn't doing this simultaneous release thing, this would probably be one that they would have like tried to sell to Netflix or something. It's just not very good. And that's how I leveled up. I watched a bad movie. I feel like we've been on this episode a long time, and we have the fact that we haven't talked about Mass Effect yet. I can't even imagine what our listeners are thinking right now.
But this is what happens when Matt's not here to keep us on track.
It's true.
Fellas.
Yeah, I know.
Matt's not here to get mad at us, so we can talk about Mass Effect 2 DLC. There's quite a lot of DLC for this game. And some of it came out the last one, The Arrival, came out a whole year after the game came out, which is kind of weird.
Whoa, that's unheard of.
Well, it's kind of weird. Like, playing it now, it's great because you have all these extra things you can do. But, like, would you go back and play a game, especially a game like this, which kind of ends?
Would I go back and play a game? I did.
Ooh.
Sort of. I don't think I ever played Arrival, but I did go back and play Shadow Broker after I finished Mass Effect 2. I have something to say.
What's
request of sorts. Mm-hmm. In addition to talking about the DLC, can we talk about Miranda's loyalty mission that we forgot to talk about last episode?
Sure. I even put
I think
notes
we should definitely do that
in the notes, if you see that.
I did, but I was trying to make the listeners think that it was my idea.
Oh, well, then yes, Vanessa, that's a great idea. Why don't you tell us about how I forgot to talk about Miranda's loyalty mission last week?
Okay, John forgot to talk about Miranda's loyalty mission last week because we were originally going to talk about it in like the second episode, but then dropped that for time, and then it got all moved around, and we just lost track of it. Sort of like Miranda lost track of her ability to form human connections.
She's too perfect, that's why.
She's too perfect. She was genetically modified to be perfect, and it was too much.
She's a real spoiler character from DS9, who I will not name.
So Miranda has a twin sister that she informs us about, and she said, I ran away from home, and I also rescued my twin sister because our dad was no good. He just wanted to have his genetically modified offspring. Most of my DNA is his. Like, I don't even have a mom. And he wanted this, like, legacy. And so I was like, no, thank you. I am taken off. And I'm helping my sister come with me. So Miranda rescued her sister and put her with a family on Ilium, where she lives in anonymity. And so asks you to go with her because her sister's location has been somehow discovered and she has to move her and her family somewhere else. And so she wants to go meet with her friend Niket, who is the guy who helped her escape, and figure out where she can move her sister to and make sure that nothing bad happens.
But she's got
a question for you guys. Is this the most boring loyalty mission? Because I would argue that it is.
No, because Zaid's exists.
Oh, okay. So I've never done Zaid's. This one is. I don't know. It's hard. Miranda's she's not an easy character to relate to.
Because she's genetically perfect.
Yeah, she's perfect. Her dad is like one of the richest people in the galaxy, and she works for and seems totally committed to the mission of a human first company,
right?
And so I didn't care about her family drama, the game gave me no reason to other than she's perfect.
She's perfect. Oh my god.
I think I like Miranda just because I like her performance. I think the actress.
Her actress does a great job.
Plays her. Yeah, she does there's a lot of character and nuance to her delivery that a lot of celebrity actors when they do voice work don't usually get. But I think she does a really good job.
I totally agree. But the character itself is very, very hard to want to put a lot of extra attention into. When I first played the game, I was like, I can't wait to get this person out of my party, and I rarely ever used her again. So having to do her loyalty mission and it being something kind of, I don't know, kind of uninteresting was kind of a bummer.
Well, and the weird thing is she's one of the more talkative party members. She has a lot to say on almost every mission. So not having her in your party, you kind of miss a lot of flavor text and stuff around the stuff you're doing. Because she's very knowledgeable. Her and Jacob both have a lot to say.
The game definitely seemed to want you to have her around a lot. Yeah.
Because a lot, some of the party members you get will not say anything ever, and that's always a bit of a bummer.
Kasumi?
Yeah.
But I don't want her to be around because she sucks.
Aww.
Yeah.
So Oriana you talk to this Lantia lady at the Eternity Bar, and she tells you that Niket's bringing Oriana, and they come up with this weird plan where she's like, Miranda's like, I look just like my sister, so we can do this weird switcheroo where I'm taking her place.
Yeah, a classic sister swap.
Ooh, or a princess switch.
Yeah, a classic princess switch. So you go, in
the Princess Switch 2, there's not only the princess and the regular girl, but there's a third pop star cousin who looks just like them too.
Cool. I'm sorry, that was rude.
Is that too girly for you, Vanessa? Is it too girly? Do you
girly.
not watch
I don't
girly
watch girl
movies?
Gross. That's for girls.
I'm not one of the other girls.
Yeah, I'm not like other girls. What was I talking about? Oh, Miranda. Yeah. So she's like, whatever. I don't know. You tell it, John. I forget.
Okay, so you go to the site to meet up with this merc, knowing that it's going to be a trap. They already figured out this plan. And the merc's there. It's like, I know you're not, Oriana, who's the sister. You're Miranda. So let's just do this. And if you go now, she'll just be safely escorted back to your dad and nothing bad will happen. And you're like, no. And Miranda, and there's lots of shooting and explosions and people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But one of those people drops a radio, and on the radio is Niket, the person who Miranda's like, oh yeah, Niket's one of my best friends, and Niket would never. It's Rocco again, but that's the only Australian-ish.
Yeah.
I know he's New Zealand, but still, Niket would never betray me, because we've been friends forever.
Yeah. So then she's like, oh, what is this? This can't be Niket. Niket would never betray me. So she's like, okay, we're going to, like, run around and shoot these mercs and, finally, like, figure out, what's going on. Niket, I guess you run into Niket eventually, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking to the mercenary leader. Yeah. And Niket is like, hey, what's up? Miranda probably told you, like, some bullshit, but guess what? She kidnapped, this little kid. And you're like, what do you mean she kidnapped a little kid? And Miranda's like, well, see...
Let's hear this.
Well, say, she's my twin sister, but, like, you know how I said I'm a clone, right? And so, she also is a clone and just, like, grown in a test tube or whatever. But, see, I was grown, like, 17 years before she was. Okay, so...
Is she Cockney?
So, me dad, he grew me in a tube, and then I'm all like, I'm 17, I'm wearing my short skirt, I'm eating chips, I don't care, because I'm young, right? And I'm just doing whatever I want with my life, and I tell me mate, Niket, I've got to get out of here. My dad, like, he won't let me do anything, he's such a bore, I hate him. And so Niket's like, I'll take you off to Edinburgh. So I'm like gonna run off to Edinburgh with Niket, and then I'm like, right, well, I'm scooping this baby too. Like, I ain't leaving no baby here with my dad. I'm taking it. And Niket's like, what? You can't take a baby. So then I just, like, didn't tell him I was taking the baby, right? But I did. I put it in my nap. And I just took it right away, hopped on Laurie, Bob's your uncle, I'm out of there.
Yeah. So now at this point, there's a renegade option, there's a bunch of Paragon, and there's kind of an in-between renegade-y Paragon-y way. And there's 3 different outcomes here. Mm-hmm. You can, tell her, cause Miranda's like, I want to kill you, Niket. Jim, can you say that in Australian? Miranda's saying she wants to kill Niket.
No. I
can't. She's like, Niket, I'm real mad that you're trying to take my innocent sister back to my dad. And
trying to take my wee sister.
You're trying to take my sister back to my dad. And the cat's like, righto, Miranda, you don't understand, old girl, what it's like to grow up impoverished. I was so poor and didn't have anything, but if I take this young lady back to your father, not only shall I collect the reward money, but she shall have the most privileged life conceivable. And then Miranda's like, oh, you don't understand what a bastard me pa is. Like, he's always like, do this, Miranda, do that, Miranda. Oh, Miranda, reach these impossible goals. You're genetically perfect, didn't you? And if you don't do it, I'm going to replace you with this baby. I wasn't about to be replaced with a baby. It can't even do anything but wet snappies.
So at this point, Miranda's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you with this gun. And she, like, brings a gun up to his head, and you can, like, say, Miranda, don't do that. You don't want to shoot your friend. Or you can be like, yeah, do it. Or you could be like, don't shoot your friend, but we'll talk about what to do later. So which options did you all choose?
I didn't kill him.
Yeah, I talked to her, and I was like, Miranda, you don't want to shoot your friend. She's like, I do, though. I'm like, he's a friend, Miranda. And she's like, I'm not bothered. I'm going to shoot him. Doesn't bother me. But she didn't do it. She was just like...
No, I was like, Miranda, oi, you can't shoot your mate.
I was like, Miranda, call that a friend? This is a friend. And pointed at myself and then said to shoot him.
Yeah, this is my mate now, Niket. I ain't bothering with you no more. You go back to the dustbin you crawled out of. I don't care.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So once that's resolved, you can go and catch sight of her little baby sister, who, because this game is incapable of rendering children, just looks like an adult.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's also like 19 now or something.
I guess, yeah. So that would make Miranda like 30 or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She like turns and looks at Miranda, and Miranda's like, I can't go over there. She doesn't even know I exist. And you're like, she doesn't even know you exist. What? But I told her, would it be so bad if she knew that she had a sister who cared about her? Miranda's like, I guess not. And she went over and introduced herself, and then she came back, and she's like, yeah, she understood right away what was going on. She's like a genetically modified genius like me, so it was no problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm probably going to send her an email.
They had a very short conversation.
So in mine, I just was like, yeah, Miranda, just shoot him. She's like, okay, it's done. Blam. And then you have to fight the Merc leader. I think you have to fight the Merc leader no matter which way the story goes. She's like a powerful Asari biotic. And then was just left. There was no meeting with the kid sister at all. But there's a way you can do it where you don't kill Niket and you get to meet the sister, but then you tell her not to go meet the sister. She just looks at her from afar. That's the other ending.
It was beautiful. A beautiful, touching family reunion. Let's talk about Miranda and Jack, shall we? Because after you do both Miranda and Jack's quest...
No, that's only... it just happens after Jack's, doesn't it?
I thought it happened... Oh, maybe it just happens after Jack's. All right. Then I guess we've talked about it already.
Yeah. Let's talk about Okay, so I've ranked these DLCs in my subjective order of goodness.
Okay.
Starting from the worst to the best.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I would, and maybe you disagree. Maybe one of you liked a certain piece of DLC more than I did, but I would say the very worst, other than Zaid's boring mission, is
which we've talked about,
the Normandy crash site.
I played that one.
Like Zaid, this was included on the disc, but unlocked with a special code you got in your game, so that if you sold it back to GameStop, people wouldn't get that code. And so you can only play this if you bought the game new, but it is trash.
How about that GameStop, huh? Power to the people, am I right?
I watched you play this DLC on Twitch, and I will say now what I said in your Twitch chat, which is, this is boring, and I don't like that it made me think of Navigator Presley again. Because that guy sucks.
That guy sucks.
Yep. He sure does. But you do, okay, so he was the big space racist in the first game. But as you get some Navigator Presley blogs as you go through this, where he's like, actually, I was wrong about aliens. I shouldn't have been so biased and bigoted against them because they have a lot to offer and the world is better. Or the universe is better with a diversity of thought and peoples. And so, right before he died, he turned not racist, apparently.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of touching. He's traveling around, he's hanging out with all these different aliens, and he's like, yeah, I like them.
So the actual gameplay is that there are 20 dog tags stashed around this planet, and as you pick them up, you get little flashes of the people who use dog tags you're picking up. But when I say flashes, it's a still JPEG that fades in and out of the screen. It is garbage.
Yeah, it looks really bad.
And there's only one recognizable one anyway, which is Presley, and the rest is remember this character who used to sit in this chair? Mm-hmm. They're dead.
Yeah. He was always yelling at you. And then I remember in John's stream, John and I also talked about how he died because a computer blew him up.
It's great. All right, next piece of DLC is and also the last thing you do at the crash site is put down a monument. You can set it wherever you want at the crash site, and it's just like a little spire with the Normandy on it, going out like a little swoop next to it.
I just stuck it in like the first place I found where I could stick it. I didn't care where that thing went.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No one's going to come out there to the crash site of this planet on this snow world with nothing going on to look at it. It's dumb. I guess they have telescopes. They can look at it through that.
Yes, they're telescopes through the portholes of their spaceship.
They have like 1700s telescopes poking out of their spaceships.
The next DLC, MsV Firewalker. This is a DLC about the replacement for the Mako. Since no one liked the Mako, they're like, let's do a DLC that's all about the Mako 2, but this time it's a hovercraft.
Yeah, this time it still sucks. What a twist.
So the point is you're looking for the MsV Rosalie, which is crashed with Doctors Case and Dr. Aloy. And, you find the first planet, that they were on that is geologically active. And you do set off like a sensor that explodes the planet right away. But there's lots of jumping over lava and scanning stuff. Like, if you thought that the Mako would be more fun as a platformer, like a Mario 64, you'll love this.
Mm-hmm. And it still has the same, like, weapon system, though, right? With the shields and everything?
It's very, very similar, yeah. Yeah. And it does have, but this one has heat-seeking missiles. The Mako had a charge gun. So it's a little bit different, but, it sucks. And so there's a bunch of different planets you can go to. Eventually you find the coordinates to the Prothean site. You get to the Prothean site and it's covered by a shield and there's like rocket drones attacking you. And you have to take out the shield generators first. And then you can go into the site and I was like, okay, it's big boss fight time. Big dramatic story for this paid DLC people paid money for. The end of this DLC is that you find a couple of bodies and you find out the one doctor was indoctrinated by the Reapers and the other doctor killed him. And
yes, it was murder most foul.
Well, but I mean, he killed a bad guy.
It wasn't bad. He was indoctrinated.
And they also said they destroyed the relic, but they didn't. It was still there. I didn't understand that part.
Maybe they were both indoctrinated and they only thought they had.
The relic is a big silver ball. You've actually found a Prothean relic like this before. In Mass Effect 1, it was like a planet bone, like a secret on a planet you could find that gave you like a story of someone's life, hundreds of thousands of years ago. That was pretty fun. So this one, shrinks into like a little ball size and, so it shrinks into a little ball size and you, bring it onto your ship and it goes onto your coffee table in your captain's room.
You're just going to put this priceless Promethean artifact on your coffee table?
Well, apparently, like, the scientists on your ship are sending, like, sensor readings cause you got an email about how it's gonna change the, study of Protheans forever, et cetera, et cetera. It's full of data and knowledge, but it's also, like, on your coffee table.
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, Shepard is a renegade.
Mm-hmm. The next DLC we'll talk about is Overlord.
Overlord!
So this is about a Cerberus research base that has gone silent.
Oh no.
And you get there, and it is full of Geth. And the chief scientist Archer's like, hey, there's a rampant VI and he's trying to upload himself to the extranet. So you gotta like break down the satellite while dodging Geth. And I was like, okay, this is pretty fun. That's a cute little piece of DLC. And I thought it was going to be over when I took down the satellite, but it was just beginning.
Whoa.
Because guess what's back for this piece of DLC?
The hoverboard.
The hammerhead. Yeah, the hovercraft is back. And so you talk to Archer and he's like, thanks for that, but you gotta go to Atlas Station to like find my brother and stop him. But to get to Atlas Station, you gotta go through 2 other stations to like unlock the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like a open world area and you can sort of choose which places to go to. I think you actually have to do it in a certain order.
I wish you'd talk about how dreamy the guy is who's telling you about his brother.
But he looks like what's his name? Peter. He was the guy who like was the Xbox spokesperson for a while. I can't remember his last name.
I don't think
he's dreamy at all.
John Bowser.
Oh, that's the Nintendo CEO.
I think he looked great, and by looked, I mean he had a like British voice actor or something.
Yeah, I did shoot. He was on a screen, and I shot nipples onto his suit.
He did, and John did this not just with him. He like went around. He found a corpse, and he's like, "I'm going to give it some nipples," and shot like 2 holes into his chest. John, I don't think you know what a nipple is.
There's some weird corpses in this DLC because they've all been killed by either the VI taking over robots or the Geth. So the whole research here is that they found a human Geth interface. So they took someone and like plugged him into the computer to talk to the Geth computers, but it did reactivate a whole lot of Geth. So it wasn't a super great idea.
They made a half man, half Geth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's more machine than man now.
You see him later, I'd say he's like 30% machine.
So when I say Darth Geth killed your father, I was telling the truth, from a certain point of view.
No, you weren't, Obi-Wan. What are you talking about? That was an obvious lie.
Luke's classic line, "No, you weren't, Obi-Wan."
So, you go to, you get into the craft. You have this little planet you can drive around. There's a little bonus where you can find these little pieces of Cerberus data that are hidden around like so much Banjo-Kazooie things to find. And one of them is very difficult to find. And you get to you go to Vulcan Station, which involves lava jumping in the hammerhead. This sucks.
Yeah.
It's really bad. At least like the part inside the station's really short, but getting there and doing all this platforming with a poorly controlling machine. What were they thinking?
It's yet another classic example of making an RPG and then deciding, I wish I hadn't made an RPG. I wish I made a platformer or a driving simulator or something. I'll just put that in here. No one will notice. We notice.
You know what people loved in Mass Effect 1? The Mako. They just loved it.
Love it. Can't get enough of that Mako stuff.
Yep. So they put a whole lot more in. So you get there, you open up the little lock there, and you go back, and then you have to go to Prometheus Station, which is inside a Geth ship, and is protected by a big Geth cannon. And so there's like, you have to dodge this cannon, but use this cannon to like knock out the gun's batteries at the same time. So it's like a puzzle. It's like a Zelda boss, but you're driving a car doing the Zelda boss.
I'd rather just do the boss and not drive the car.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But nobody asks me anything.
And then the section inside the ship's pretty long too, because you go all the way to the inside and you're not being attacked. There are lots of cameras. I didn't get the achievement for shooting every camera. I thought I would, but I must have missed 1 or 2 somewhere.
Oh no.
These cameras are watching you. It's a little creepy. I liked how creepy it was going through this Geth ship. And it's very atmospheric, and there's a little sliding puzzle to get a treasure and to get the control thing to unlock this. So there's a slidey puzzle, and you do that. And when you unlock this station, then the VI gets really angry at you and starts like speaking in sentences like, "Stop! What are you doing? Stop!"
Ooh.
and then starts throwing, reawakens all the Geth, including like the big bad Geth you saw on the way in. And you have to fight your way out. Fortunately, I brought Tally with me, and both Tally and I have a turn Geth on your side ability, which makes this very easy. I was telling Vanessa as I streamed this that my favorite ability in any RPG or action RPG is the ability that gets enemies to fight for you, because it always breaks the game.
Yes. Friendship is the ultimate power, and love is the god mode of life.
Like in BioShock, you can like get this thing pretty early on that makes all the big daddies fight for you. And they're unstoppable, so BioShock's pretty easy.
There is a mission very similar to this one in some ways, in sort of the game proper, if you explore around different planets. Did you come across that one?
Oh, I was going to wrap up all the like the little side quests. We can talk about it.
I want to talk about it.
Sure.
Why not? Why not talk about it now?
Okay.
Instead of next week when Matt's going to be here being like, Rumby. I don't want to talk about it. I didn't do it.
I'm Matthew Vincent, and I'm from Australia.
I'm Matthew Vincent from Australia. I ain't got no time for no side questing.
I want heaps of chips.
I love chips. I love meat. I love to just have like a big slab of meat is what I love.
And Foster's.
I love Foster's. That's Italian for beer.
So tell me about this side quest.
You come across a spaceship. Well, I think here's the problem. I don't remember how it starts. I believe you find a crashed ship that had like a delivery of robots on it. No, that's something else. Is it? No. Anyway, eventually.
I want you to make up, fill in the blanks for the story and just make it up. If you don't remember.
Happens. You come across, first step one, you find this planet where there's a crash, and you go around, you're reading what happened here at this crash, and they're like, oh, the robots we were delivering just went robot crazy and started shooting everybody. And then you're like, uh-oh. And so, the robots come to life, and some other people come to get the salvage, and you have to shoot them all. And then from that data, you figure out where the robot factory is. So you go to the robot factory, the robots have all gone zany bananas, and you shoot up the robots, and you figure out, oh, the robots went zany bananas right after this particular ship came and docked there. So then you go and find the ship, and turns out the ship has this VI system that has gone also zany bananas, and it's like, humans are violent and illogical. It's my job to protect humans. The only way to protect them is to kill them. You know, that kind of classic dumb robot logic. So you just have to shut down the VI. That's all.
I like this Overlord reminds me a lot of System Shock. It's kind of got a System Shocky vibe, especially with the last station. So after you unlock the Prometheus station, you get to Atlas station. And things start, the interface starts getting messed around with, the little icon for doors starts moving around, and, the VI keeps clicking at you. It's like, what are you doing?
Open the door.
And it, starts leading you through select doors, and there's, some logs about it. It's like, what's the VI doing? It's like he's trying to herd us into different rooms.
Whoa. But there's no way that could be the case.
Well, you get close to the VI and you try opening a door, and then it interfaces with your Omni tool, and then distorts your perception of reality. So you're in this Tron world, but you're also in the real world, but it's all covered in Tron lights.
Whoa.
And you have to do like a boss fight in this Tron world. It's pretty cool. I like this part a lot.
What's the boss like?
Well, the boss, you get to like the VI core, and it's a big sphere again. And it's trying to send out signals to hack the Normandy and take control of the Normandy, and you have to stop these signals, which fortunately you can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course you can shoot electric signals. And also it's like throwing Geth at you, and it's a little tricky. So you have to like kind of manage that. And then once you like shoot the signals enough, it opens its shield, and then you can like blast the core a bit. And so it's one of those kind of Zelda bosses. And this is a pretty good boss, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And when you blow it up, it opens and you see what's inside. And you
what's in there?
Well, as you've been going through this Tron world, you see little like recordings of memories of David, who is the chief scientist Archer's brother.
Okay.
And the chief scientist Archer has been like, he's like, he realizes that his brother is the key to interfacing with the Geth, and his brother is, and this is a terrible, awful, trope that I think it's still around, but it, like, people are realizing it's not a good trope, is he's like, my brother's autistic and can communicate with the Geth. Because the Geth is like clicking at him, and the brother like clicks back, and he's like, he's such a mathematical savant that he can understand the Geth's like modem language. So then he decides that the right thing to do is torture his brother by hooking him up to machines so that he can be like interface with the Geth VI and control the Geth, which he can do. He like mission complete. Right?
Yeah,
like it
seems
worked.
like a great idea.
Except that his brother doesn't like his other brother and is being tortured. But when you blow up the like metal core surrounding the brother, I guess it like limited his anger or his control. And you see the brother, and he's got like tubes in his throat, and his eyes are held open like a real Clockwork Orange. And
jeez.
It does not look like a good situation. And and Shepard, depending on the voice actor is like either, what are you doing? This is despicable, or, what are you doing? This is horrible. I don't like this. I don't like this. What are you talking about?
This is a no-no.
Mm-hmm. So, at this point, you get a Paragon or a Renegade option. The Paragon option is to take David out of the machine and try to rehabilitate him, and then arrest the brother, who has been working for Cerberus the whole time. The reason he gives for doing this is that he thought the Elusive Man would punish him for not interfacing the VI, and that's why he took the desperate action of hooking his brother up into the machine. And the Renegade options being like, well, I don't like this, but keep on keeping on.
I mean, it's not what I would have done, but well.
I think this could be useful in the future, so keep on doing it. Sorry, David.
Oh, no. So did you leave him plugged in?
I did leave him plugged in.
Johnny.
Well, Pimp Jenks is a jerk.
Yeah, but Johnny isn't a jerk.
That's true. But Pimp Jenks is.
Yeah.
Next DLC, The Arrival.
Uh-oh.
So this one's kind of like came out in between Mass Effect 2 and 3. And, if you did not play this, the beginning of Mass Effect 3 might seem very confusing.
Well, I think if you didn't play it, I was reading a little bit about it. If you didn't play it, then at the beginning of Mass Effect 3, someone else has done this thing that you have done in this game.
But then why is Shepard arrested for it?
Shepard isn't.
Okay.
Yeah, this other people are.
So, Admiral Hackett, messages you privately that his friend, Dr. Amanda Kenson, has gone missing. She has proof, she says, of an imminent Reaper invasion, like coming in real hot, real soon.
Oh, no.
She was working in Batarian space as an agent, and he asked you to free her from prison. So you go over to that area, part of space, and you can sneak into the prison, or you can go in guns blazing, which either offers different options. I went in guns blazing because, of course, I did. Mm-hmm. And
because you're Johnny Guns Ablaze.
Mm-hmm. Bim Janks, blam blam blam. You hear from the Batarians that you're sneaking around that she is planning to launch a planetoid at the local relay. And they're like, well, that won't work. Relays, we've been trying to blow up a relay for decades and nothing's ever broken one of those. But if you did manage to break a relay, the idea is that it would probably kill everyone in the entire solar system.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be real bad.
Yeah, so you probably shouldn't do that.
You bust her out and get her off the planet, and you steal a ship. There's a whole lot, like I'm skipping through a whole lot of fights, but these are just, you know what? It's Mass Effect fights.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew. Launch, launch, launch. Float, float, float.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mass Effect. And on the shuttle back, she's like, okay, we got to swing around to the project base. We found this Reaper artifact called Object Rho, and we're keeping it there. And the project is basically ready to go. As soon as I'm back, I just have to say the word. They're going to launch this little planetoid at the what do you call that? Relay.
Shouldn't be a problem. I'm sure there's no one like using the relay or living there or anything like that.
Well, you get there, you see, on this base, and everything's looking pretty normal. You're walking around and you go like deeper and deeper into the base with her. And she's like, okay, so here it is. This is what I wanted to show you. And she opens the door and there's the relay just kind of hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and Shepard, one way or the other, is like, you shouldn't be doing this because it can indoctrinate people. Like, these will take control of your brains.
Sure.
I'm not an idiot. I obviously am not being controlled by this lovely, beautiful, desirable, gorgeous object, which I love.
Yeah.
And there's a clock counting down all over the base to the Reaper's arrival, which is pretty fun. Mm-hmm. But you got 2 days, so you got plenty of time. And then
that is plenty of time.
Then Kenson's like, okay, so I know we're talking about destroying the relay, and we can destroy the relay, but the question is, should we? And you're like, yeah, we gotta start this. We gotta blow up this thing. Like, and this is Paragon or Renegade. Shepard's goal here is to blow up the relay. And
what if I don't want to blow up the relay?
Do you want those sweet, sweet blue choices?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna blow up that relay.
Oh.
Except then Kenson's like, you see, you know when I said that the object was beautiful and precious and I would do anything for it?
Right.
That includes holding a gun to your head, and I'm going to stop you from doing this.
But
so
she promised that she wasn't indoctrinated.
She was only like a little indoctrinated, just a little, just a touch.
A pinch.
Yeah, just a little
aren't
pinch.
We all, though, really, if you think about it.
Then her staff knocks you out, gives you a serious concussion for like 2 or 3 days, which, you know, that's like life-changing injury.
I thought we only had 2 days to fire this thing off, though.
Well, you wake up and there's only an hour and a half left.
What?
And then, like, the lady monitoring you is like, oh, it looked like Shepard awoke, but I think it's fine. I think Shepard's still sleeping because you're, like, pretending. But then you, like, take over and you knock out people and then you get your equipment back. And Dr. Kenson's like, everybody, there's an emergency. Shepard is breaking out. Shepard has to be stopped. And you go through and you like have to reactivate the engines that were going to push this planet towards the thing. And you got to reactivate the guidance system. And right there at the guidance system is Dr. Kenson. And you have like a little chat with her, but you're going to have to go through her or try to like convince her. I think there's a way to convince her to stop fighting. like, talk her out of her indoctrination. But
just be like, hey, chill.
I'm playing evil, and I never did this one originally, so I don't know how it goes. But I killed her and fight her and kill her, and then control it, so it is going to hit the thingy, what do you call it, thingy?
The relay.
Thingy, the relay.
The relay.
And then you get knocked out for a little while as she like blows herself up, and you wake up and there's only a few precious moments left. You got to make your way to the communication tower to radio the Normandy to pick you up before it explodes. And so there's like a little time clock ticking down, and you're fighting more. But you do get the chance to warn the Batarians that the relay is about to explode.
Which, of course, you would do. There's no benefit in not.
When you say that, and you know how I'm doing everything to get my sweet, sweet renegade points, it turns out I think nothing you do in this mission gives you renegade points.
What?
So I think well, here's the thing. No matter what you do, giving people 10 minutes to evacuate a planet turns out is not enough time. So, good guy or not good guy, you are going to kill 300,000 Batarians. So,
well, the Batarians, I mean, they're technically people, but
oh god. So you do have to blow the planet up, and you just get rescued in the nick of time, and then the Normandy punches out of there right before the planetoid blows up the relay, and there's a big old explosion, and Hackett's like, yeah, I can hold off. You're going to be court-martialed for this, and I'm really sorry. But you can like give him a full explanation of what happened. You can like tell it nice or tell it mean. And I was like, look, your friend got indoctrinated, and I had to kill her, and then I had to keep her plan going because we're basically 10 minutes away from the Reapers coming early. But before you go, I forgot to mention, there is a second where you do talk to the collector, like the Reapers or the collector, depending on what point in the game you do this. And the collector's like, the arrival is coming. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, no. Sinister.
Setting up the beginning of Mass Effect 3, because he's like, yes, as soon as you're done with your suicide mission, you're going to go to court.
Oh, no, I don't want to.
So, yeah, the good version is that you try to save the Batarians, but either way they die.
That's sad.
So, let's talk about, and I thought that was a pretty good piece of DLC. That's why I put it as second best, before the best piece of DLC, Lair of the Shadow Broker.
That is the best piece of DLC. I totally agree with you for once.
Although, actually, maybe Kasumi, but I mean, we did that last episode. I think if we included Kasumi's sexy spy mission, that would probably be my favorite.
Yeah. But, Lair of the Shadow Broker, it's great. It's a whole thing. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
You remember Liara?
I do. She was my girlfriend in my first playthrough of Mass Effect.
She was your girlfriend. She's an Asari. She's on Ilium. We've talked a little bit before about how she helps us find our new friends. But she won't come with us because she's obsessed with the Shadow Broker and uncovering him and taking him out. She hates that Shadow Broker fella.
You start finding out through this thing that basically the Shadow Broker was the one that found the corpse of Shepard and was bringing him to life, but then, and Liara started helping with this, but it turns out he was going to betray her. Yeah,
he was going to give your corpse, or you, I guess, to the collectors.
Which would have been a bad thing.
Would have been bad because they would just like collect you and put you on a shelf and never take you out of your packaging and play with you.
That's true.
So she stole you and gave you to Cerebus instead. And now she's like, no, I gotta take out the Shadow Broker. So she's like, I'm going to go home, and why don't you come by in like an hour? Just give me a time to
Wink.
freshen up. Wink. Wink.
So, had you romanced Liara in the first game?
No, I romanced Caden. Everyone knows
right,
that.
Of course. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. What was I thinking?
I accept your apology. So you go to her apartment, and it's very nice, except there is police there and also bullet holes in the window.
Ooh. Well, that's not good.
Yeah. And there's this other Spectre there.
Ooh,
Televisier.
they're the space cops.
They're like beyond cops. Like
Space
they're like
James Bond.
Space James Bond. They have a license to do whatever they want to do, and they work directly for the council. And she's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm investigating this attack." And you're like, "Where's Liara?" And they're like, "We don't know, but this is her apartment for sure." And so you do some snooping. You can snoop all around her apartment. It's fun.
As you find she's like, first see if she left you a message or something, and you do find this message that she was going to meet up with her buddy Sakat, who is a Solarian informant. Yeah. And as you do this, you get a little cut to Tella where she's side-eyeing you.
Yeah, she's like, what have you got over there? But yeah, and then she's like, okay, well, let's go meet up with this dude. And and I think we glossed over that Liara has a friend who the Shadow Broker has kidnapped, and that's a big part of why she wants to get him.
Yeah, that's Farron. Yeah, Farron.
Yeah, who's one of them sneaky snake men.
And you can find, if you want to know more about the relationship between Liara and Farron and the Shadow Broker, don't forget to read Liara's trade paperback. It's not very good.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that it was terrible.
Actually, that one's one of the better ones, I think. The one about the Elusive Man was very bad.
The Elusive Man sucks. Nobody cares about him. So you go to this big skyscraper building, and you're strolling on up to the lobby, doop-a-doop-a-doo, and then kaboom! A bomb does go off. There are dead people and injured people all around, and they're like, "Oh no!" And you just kind of ignore them. Oh no, my bones!
And you have all this Medigel, and you're like,
Yeah, sorry, nothing I can do. Goodbye.
And you hide your pouch of Medigel.
Just be like,
actually, I believe on your way up, you are taking the emergency supplies of Medigel from the walls.
Do. There's a whole bunch of them, and you're just like, I'll have that.
You just whistle.
And I'll have that.
Oops.
Whoops-a-doodle. So yeah, you say, I'm going to make my way up from the bottom to the top, and your Spectre friend says, I'll work my way from the top to the bottom, and we'll meet in the middle. It'll be super fun. So you go in, there's a whole bunch of baddies in there. They're like, oh, we blew up this building, and now we're going to also shoot you. Because
these are the Shadow Broker's minions.
Yeah, Shadow Broker has a private army of his very own. So you rush up and you walk in on this room, and you find Sakat, who's dead, and Tila's there, and Tila's like, "Oh, I got here just a little bit too late. Oh no."
But the staging sort of reveals what happened. But then Liara comes in and explains to the player, because the game's like, no, you're too dumb to figure this one out.
Yeah, you probably won't get it. So Liara's like, hey, it's me, Liara. I am here to drop some exposition that, in fact, this Spectre has killed my contact and tried to kill me with a bomb. And the message I left was coded just to you, so she couldn't get it. And she's a heckin' bad guy.
Wait,
you're like,
screw that up, Shepard.
Yeah. And you brought her right here. And then you're like, what? So then we get probably the best part of all of Mass Effect. Tila decides to take off in her motor vehicle. And Johnny, what do we do?
We take off in our motor vehicle and the hubcap fly off as we turn the corner and gun it.
This is a flying car chase sequence, and there's nothing wrong with it, right?
Well, if you're playing on PC, and I think we've talked before about how I'm not very good with a mouse and keyboard, and this controls like absolute poop. How is it with a controller?
It was also like poop. And one thing I enjoyed about it is that even though it's a flying car, you have no, what's it called? Like XY access. You can just stay on one plane. You can't actually move the car up or down to avoid obstacles.
It's very it's kind of forgiving though. Like it's sort of, if you blow up, then it just like puts you back exactly where you blew up and it pushes you through it. Like,
yeah, basically. And it's like, it felt very much like the Star Wars prequels where you're flying through the city chasing a car. You go through traffic. She drops proximity mines. I don't know what else you do. You go through like a construction site. There's a truck and you're like, oh no, a truck, and have to dodge out of the way. And then later, I guess they ran out of ideas. There's another truck and you're like, oh no, another truck. You have to dodge out of the way. And then eventually she lands in a like pleasure hotel, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah, like a relaxing resort.
Like an all-inclusive resort.
All-inclusive. Wink.
Winky. So you're running through this resort. She some more of the Shadowbroker's men show up and try to fight you, and then you get to crash through some people's hotel rooms, and there's like guests and also hotel staff, and they're like, oh no, she went that way. Dancers, they are called. Hotel dancers, I guess. Like you do. And then you finally catch up with her. She was injured in the crash. She does grab a hostage.
There's some like dialogue while you're running through where this guy's like, well, after this is all cleared up, how will we go back to my room? And she's like, I'm a dancer. I'm not a whore.
Yeah.
And it's very showgirls-y.
It was great. But, she's like, you can look, but you cannot touch.
Sadly, you can't throw marbles and have Tila Vasir step on those and fall down a flight of stairs.
Oh, no.
That should have been the renegade option.
That would have been the best way to end the fight. So she grabs a hostage after you catch up with her, and you can shoot the hostage. And of course, Johnny did.
Couldn't. No, I didn't.
Oh,
because I didn't have. Well, because there's like the good bad option if you have enough points, and I didn't have enough renegade points to do like the good shot that won't kill the hostage. So I was like, no, but the problem is like if you don't do either the super hard Paragon or the super hard Renegade one, you either shoot and kill the hostage or you give up half your ammo, including all your special ammo, which makes the fight way harder.
Did you ever see a movie called Speed?
I did.
In that movie, the guy does advise Keanu Reeves to shoot the hostage, and he does not do it.
Was that the guy who turns out to be the bad guy in the end?
Oh my god, spoilers for Speed.
Oh, okay. So you get a big boss fight with Ms. Vizier here. That is it's probably the most difficult boss fight in the game.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. It's pretty tricky. And what I forgot, and there is something you could do to make this boss fight a bit easier. If you go into your squad screen, which the game never prompts you to do, you can use all of Liara's points to give her like good abilities so she can help out in the fight, but the game does not do that or tell you to do that.
I didn't do that at all. Wow, that would have been great to know.
Yes. So if you want to do that, don't forget to pause before, basically right when you get control and Liara's in your party, get all her points mapped out.
Good tip, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is like a phased fight. First she's like, I'm gonna get you. And then you beat her up a little bit. And then she's like, okay, I'm taking a break. And she takes a break and sends in some waves of enemies. And then she comes back. She's like, I'm back from my break time.
It's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And very, very difficult. So then after you defeat her, and I think I just ended up shooting her at some point because she's like, you're never going to get that information from me. And I'm like, okay. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I sort of got her like on her rails. She was bleeding out, and I was like, you worked for the Shadow Broker. You're a very bad Spectre. And she's like, Spectres do whatever they need to do to support the council. And my work for the Shadow Broker kept them, the council safe from them and all this stuff. And you're like, no, you're naughty. And then the council doesn't have people killed like the Shadow Broker. And she's like, you're naive and stupid.
She's probably right.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely is. So she doesn't die. She never does forgive you or see the heirs of her way, which is too bad. I love it when you have like the dying villain and they're like, you're right, Shepard. You were always right. And I'm like, ha ha ha.
You're the best player ever, Shepard.
Shepard, I didn't see it, but now I do. And even though you killed me, I forgive you and I think you're great and I love you.
Way to max out your Paragon points, Shepard.
You're the real Spectre, Shepard. Never have I ever seen a Spectre as good as you. Wow, I'm so impressed.
And so then she dies. And, but she did have the chip on her that that Sakat got with the location of the Shadow Broker's, secret chip. So there's this planet that is being cooked by a supernova. And on one side of the planet, the hot side is kept hot. And then there's the cold side, which is cold. And in the middle is a storm that keeps the hot side hot and the cold side cold.
Mm-hmm. And Jason Alexander comes out and he sings a little song about how the hot side is kept hot and the cold side is kept cold. Mm-hmm, and it's kind of like a flash mob. Yeah.
And so this is the MsvDLT. And you go on there and the ship's in that little DLT zone. And, you land on it. But unfortunately there's no dock or anything. So you do have to land on the surface of the ship as it goes through the storm and fight your way inside. And this probably goes on a little too long. This is like an hour.
It's tedious. I agree. I found this tedious indeed.
Well, a lot of these DLCs too, they kind of have maybe twice as much combat as I feel like they're padding out their length a little bit.
Definitely. Especially they can charge their $20 or however much they charge for them.
I guess we'll talk about that at the end. So you go through, there's some fun things there's these lightning collectors that store up electricity and you can shoot them to zap all the bad guys, except that I had Tali on this mission because she has robot control, which is very useful. And she always was squatting next to the little lightning collectors. So I zapped her to death several times.
Sucks to suck, Tali.
Maybe don't stand next to that. I mean, you can tell her not to stand there, which I never did. There is squad control.
I tried to take Tali with me on this mission, but I accidentally took Kasumi instead, and she just was useless and got zapped up all the time because she'd be trying to backstab someone, and I'd just be like, gazap!
Ooh, Porky just found the big pile of catnip I left for her.
What a special treat for a special girl.
Mm-hmm. She is enjoying it. I like to cover her toys in it so that she like throws the toys around and then chases after them.
Oh, good. She needs her exercise. She's a chonker.
Mm-hmm. So, you shoot your way through, you get inside, eventually you get to Farron. He is being tortured, and he can't tell you things, 'cause the more you try to talk to him, the more he's like, Shepard, ow, this really hurts.
Every time you talk to me, I get tortured, and I have this medical stuff strapped in me, so I can't even die. Like, please don't talk to me anymore. And it says that the only way to relieve this torture is to have the Shadow Broker's network shut down, because, like, he is hooked up to the internet, essentially.
Yeah, I think he's like the router.
Yeah, he's a router.
So all the info's going through him, and it's real painful, and he's been doing this all for a while.
Yeah, he's like, I'm so hot, I'm processing so much data.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna randomly crash every Wednesday for some reason. Don't ask me why, but you'll have to turn me off and then turn me on again.
Yeah, and then your roommate's gonna turn me off without warning.
Mm-hmm. So you do, get to like the big, you have to fight some more dudes and get to the big office of the Shadow Broker. And so do you think like the power of the Shadow Broker it's sort of like a Yoda thing where the Shadow Brokers could be like this small little person, and the power is the information and not their physical power?
Yeah, I thought it would be like a Volus, maybe, because it seems like a lot of Volus work for the Shadow Broker, and we haven't really had a significant Volus character, so it would be cool. Or maybe even the Shadow Broker could be like a little squad of Volus, like a whole little nest or something. And they're like, there is no Shadow Broker, there's just this network that we have, or whatever it is. That would have been cool.
They decide to go a different direction.
Oh,
and
okay.
You get to the Shadow Broker's office, and there is a big, beefy boy.
Yeah, it's big, and it's not a species that we have encountered before. He's a special boy.
He is a Yag, and Liara instantly, like, drops puts her reading glasses on and gives him the full reading. He's like, who are you? Will be destroyed for coming against me. And Liara's like, so you think you're hot shit, but just looking at you, I can already tell 3 things. 1, you're a fucking Yag. 2, you're from a pre-warp planet, so you were obviously taken out of there by some kind of slaver. And 3, you're probably kept, like, I'm gonna say, as a pet? Because this station is way older than your lifespan.
And he's like, I'm no pet, I'm a Shadow Broker. And she's like, you know.
So she realizes that he is, like, there must have been a Shadow Broker before him who kept him as a pet, and he rebelled and then killed the old Shadow Broker and then became the Shadow Broker himself. And so the Yag is completely naked. He doesn't have clothes.
No.
He does have big biceps and a big chest and a tummy with, I don't know if this is a tattoo or like just a natural growth pattern. You know, like the arrows of Adonis that you talk about sometimes?
All the time, yeah.
Well, this is like the arrows of Atomus, where it is, they do point at his belly button, and they're like, love this belly button.
No, check out my cute little belly. And
he does have like horns and 8 eyes. And you know how I said, Grunt has very kissable frog lips? I would say that kissing this Yag, which I would consider, because he's a very strong boy, it looks a little like, it looks like he has maybe sharp krill, what do you call it? The krill filters, like a whale does?
I feel like his mouth looks like a garbage disposal. You know,
It's not.
Well, first of all, it's 3-sided, which is unusual for a mouth. So it's shaped like a triangle. He has a row of bottom teeth, and then he has 2 rows of side teeth. And to me, it looks like, you know, like 3 little blades that would come together and just like saw stuff up. But I know that's obviously not the case. I'm not crazy. Surely he doesn't really have any molars, so I don't think he does like any like chewing of his food. I think he has a purely ripping based mouth.
See, I was thinking he just like puts his mouth into a river and then like sucks up krill like a whale does.
That'd be okay then. I mean, like you could it would be like kissing like a stiff brush, which isn't like the ideal, but it's not awful.
Well, you know those cleaning things where they have those little rubbery tendrils? It's like a brush, but they're like super soft. Maybe it's like that. And that'd be kind of creepy. A little bit, but I think you could get used to it. Anyway, so I'm going to contact my favorite furry artists and get art done of him wearing like spandex or Speedos or singlets. And I'll get back to you when that's completed.
It's interesting because like I feel like a lot of people, they see like a character they're interested in and they're like, I'd like to commission some erotic art of this character wearing less. But in this case, this guy has nothing on and you would like to see him wearing more.
Yeah, and like hanging out in a comfortable position.
I bet you'd like to see him hanging out.
So that is the Yag. And then there's, I actually like this boss fight. I thought it was pretty fun.
It's all right. You gotta hide behind pillars, and then he charges at you, and he
does throw I think he's got biotic powers, right? Because he throws Tally. No, he just throws her. I think he just picks her up and throws Tally.
Yeah, I don't think he's biotic.
So it's just you and Liara.
And so then he's like, okay, well, you're dumb because I have this super shield, and you can't get it. But then you're like, okay, well, I'll do it the old fashioned way. And so, after you get him to sort of pause, you go fisticuffs with him and you just hit him.
And that gets him real mad. And then he like has he does have some kind of weird field that he's like there's this like big glass roof over him that's charging his biotic shield somehow. And then Liara gets an idea. She's like, oh, do this one more time. And then I think I know how to finish this fight. And so you do it one more time. You get his shield down. You go in, you give him a punchy punch. Then Liara picks him up with her biotic abilities and smashes him into the ceiling.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I honestly, I love, like, there's a scene before where she's chasing Tila and she's just like kicking ass and just throwing people everywhere. That is great. I love seeing Liara mad.
She's pretty dope. So then I liked this part a lot where, there's like this big screen. Oh, you shut down the system after that because you're like,
he melts.
Yeah. But you shut it down so that Liara's friend can get out. So you sort of like toggle it on and off, and then all of these calls start coming through like Shadowbroker. We experienced a delay in Shadowbroker. Is everything okay? Shadowbroker. And Liara like looks around and she's like, well, let's see. I'm the only one here. So, and she picks up the radio and she's like, this is the Shadowbroker. Everything's fine. It's me. I'm the Shadowbroker. And they're like, cool.
And she's like, I'll need operational status reports from every agent tonight. And everyone on the other side's like, that's 5 pages, double spaced.
Come on.
Oh, man.
And then Shepard's like, what the heck are you doing, Laura? You're not the Shadowbroker. And then Liara's like, aren't I? Like, the Shadowbroker's dead. Everyone who'd ever seen the Shadowbroker is dead. I'm here on the Shadowbroker's ship in the Shadowbroker headquarters, controlling all the Shadowbroker computers, which don't have any Shadowbroker passwords on them because the arrogant Shadowbroker didn't think anyone could get here to be the Shadowbroker. So maybe I am the Shadowbroker.
And then she meets the AI that helps the Shadow Broker. It's like it's a real Siri that floats on in and is like, "How can I help you, Shadow Broker?"
And she's like, I guess this thing is programmed to think anyone who's here is the Shadow Broker.
So there's one thing that the game does here is you rescue Ferris or Farron. And then the game's like, and Laia's like, come back and see me anytime. But then it like flashes and she's like, oh, nice to see you, Shepard.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you should have given us the opportunity to come back.
Yeah.
But maybe the game was like, oh, maybe the devs were like, well, players never came back and they didn't see all this cool stuff you can do here. So we wanted them to see that before they left.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. You can read dossiers on all of your party members. And it includes like little secret transmissions they've had with different people. You can read Miranda's like dating chat site things. Mm-hmm. Did you read those?
I have before, but I didn't have time because it took only like an hour. I didn't want to read it on stream and it took me like an hour to read all. So let's talk about, why don't you talk about the best parts of these dossiers?
So I liked Miranda's, like Tinder chat logs because her way of chatting with someone is like, she's like, send me your medical report. And when people like respond with like, hey, don't you want to get to know each other better? And then it's just like conversation ended. And so finally she finds a guy who's like, this is my medical report. And she's like, okay, meet me at this address. And he's like, okay.
Wow.
So yeah, she's just having some hookups and good for her. And then there's some, I don't remember what else actually, to tell the truth.
I remember there's some fun stuff with Tally, and I forget, someone liked some ridiculous things, but, yeah, I can't. Listeners, if you have any favorite dossiers, let me know. There's also one, and I feel like there's a secret to it, and I couldn't figure it out. There is these videos you can watch and zoom in on, and I didn't, like, they just seemed like random videos. Was there any secret to them? Is there anything you can discover?
Not that I could find. I did see a video of Jacob doing some sit-ups, so that was fun.
Do you think the Shadow Broker was like, yeah.
Yeah. It was like,
work that
look at
body.
this guy. Yeah, I'm working. Yeah, maybe I can get some tips here for my workout. I love to read Men's Health magazine and watch these videos just because I'm into fitness, okay? It's not weird. I'm just into fitness. I was on my YouTube, and you know how it like recommends videos to you? And it recommended this video of Jared Padalecki like showing what was in his refrigerator to Men's Health magazine.
Okay, and what was it?
I don't know, just like veg and stuff like that. Who cares?
So let's wrap this up. We are done with the DLCs.
This is our important Mass Effect talk.
So we both agree, I guess, that Lair of the Shadow Broker or Kasumi's Big Spy Adventure are the best pieces of DLC for Mass Effect 2.
Yes. And that means that next time we've done all the DLC, we've done all the loyalty missions, we've sent our probes into every planet we could. It's time to finish the game.
I don't want to play Final Fantasy VIII.
I know you
don't. It's a game that punishes you for leveling up.
Yeah, but Johnny, I know you don't like to, but just use the power of Andraste, please. Like, you're going to get frustrated by its game mechanic system, and just give it a little tweak. There's nothing wrong with adjusting a game to where you can enjoy it.
What I'm going to do is there's just like ways of breaking the game where you don't gain levels. You like turn the enemies to cards and then like keep Squall at as low a level as possible. So it's basically like using the power of Andraste. It's not cheating, but it's abusing the game system to make it super easy. And that's what I used to do
with Elder Scrolls Oblivion, because you only level up if you level your like core skills that you choose. So if you choose a bunch of like core skills that you never use, then you never level up. And
Exactly.
The world
It is
scales
exactly
with you,
like that.
you are always young and free. I myself, I think I'll just use like the infinite hit point, whatever, and see what I can do because I don't know, I want to use those giant spells.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about mini games. I guess you could say that on John's Bullshit Minigame Corner, you can sort of call the driving stuff a minigame. The one, I'd say the one in Lair the Shadow Broker definitely is. That's like, the driving, it's terrible. It's really bad. It's as bad as like the turret stuff in KOTOR and all that. But it's only like 3 minutes long, so it's fine. The stuff on the planet's a little longer. It's okay. You can get through it. It's not hard. One thing that it does do, the kind of Bard's Tale thing when you're driving the hammerhead, of if you like stay outside the targeting range of the enemies, you can just shoot them. Mm-hmm. Which is nice because they won't hit you and you can just keep sending those missiles after them. Yeah. And it is very easy. So that's the bullshit mini games. Let's talk about what you are roundly for or squarely against.
I'm squarely against the Normandy crash site mission. It's just looking for dog tags, and there are 20 of them, which is way too many. And it's boring and stupid and not even a real DLC.
Yeah. I am, let's see. I'm roundly for the Yerg. I like having a new beefy boy race randomly introduced, even if it was done in a very dumb way. But, there's something I thought we should talk about in the roundly. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's say actually I'm squarely against the padding a lot of these DLCs have. I know that like, I think some of them, Lair the Shadowbroker was like $20 or $15. And I think they wanted to get your money's worth. So they added lots of driving around or lots and lots and lots of gunfights. And people are in these games for the story. They aren't in it for never ending gunfights that all these DLCs have.
Yeah. Even with the character DLCs, it's like, give me a little bit more dialogue with them. You know, just let me form relationships with them. It was just disappointing. Again, for what they probably cost originally. These days, you can get the whole DLC bundle for $10, right?
Yeah, at least on PC, I got it through Origin for $10, and that's worth it. For sure.
It's really worth it. Definitely fine. I'm sure there are, Game of the Year editions out there where you can just buy the whole kit and caboodle all in one blow.
Yep. And I think the remaster trilogy is going to come with all the DLC. So you won't even have to worry about it if you get that.
Which you should if you haven't played Mass Effect.
It's coming out. I think it's coming out in a month.
Yeah, some of our listeners were complaining. They're like, why didn't you wait? And I was like, because it's BioWary, not BioRebuary.
But it could be if we don't do Final Fantasy VIII and do a different BioWare game.
You've already added a whole new episode.
You're right.
Which, as you can see, your sinister plan did not work out that well because it's just the two of us in the end.
You're right. All right. Well, then let's close the page close the book on tonight's episode. And,
shrink the codex. I just have this picture of the Shadow Broker up on my screen, and it's like, it's a lot. It's time to scroll down.
We have a Patreon, and there is a new episode just released. And I found out that many listeners have a problem of not being able to listen to their Patreon episodes. And the easiest way to do it, and this is really annoying, so bear with me here, is to open up Patreon on your PC. And then go to, I think it's in your rewards section. It gives you a custom RSS link. Copy that, paste it into an email you send yourself, open it up on your phone, copy that link from your email on your phone, and then enter it into your podcast device, and that will get it onto the RSS feed, will go into your podcast thing, and you'll be able to listen to the episodes there. It's really annoying. Patreon doesn't do a good job of letting you listen to the episodes you bought. So.
Yeah, I just, I log on my iPhone to like the website of Patreon, and you can listen to it from there, but not through your podcast app.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
It is.
Getting it onto your it is possible. You just have to get that link and then paste it into, like, if you, like, a lot of them will say, like, add manual RSS feed link, and that's where you copy and paste that link that Patreon gives you. So that's the proper way to do it, but Patreon does not give you a good way of doing it. Anyway, so, for $3 a month, you get every single bonus episode we've ever done. And there are a ton. This month's bonus episode, which is now on your feed, is Did I Do Cast? Where, much to Vanessa's horror, we did watch 3 episodes of
I don't want to talk about it. But there's a lot
I think
of...
it's a great episode. It's genuinely a fun, good episode.
I don't want to talk about it. So there are other great things on there. We talk about different games. We talk about basically every tentpole superhero movie that comes out. And look forward to our episode on the Snyder Cut releasing soon.
I definitely need to watch Batman versus Superman first, but then I will watch the Snyder Cut.
I've seen enough of it on like television. I don't think I need to see the whole thing. And then I will watch the Snyder Cut, which will be fun because I never saw Justice League proper.
I think you could have Batman versus Superman on your TV and be playing like Regency Love.
Well, I'm definitely not going to just like watch it without something else on in the background. And as a matter of fact, I did enjoy several fine films while I was playing Regency Love on my iPad.
So, there's tons of episodes. I think there's some really fun ones you can find there. If you want a list, just message me or Vanessa. We will recommend our favorite episodes to you anytime.
I don't know what you're talking about, but don't message me, please.
Okay. Just message me and I'll let you know the bestest episodes on our Patreon. A real hot list of what I think are the must listen to episodes.
Johnny's Hot Patreon.
Mm-hmm. And for $5 a month, you get the right to vote. And after Final Fantasy VIII, I think probably in March, we're gonna do a vote for the next game.
Mid-March, I'd say, is a good aspiration.
Yeah. We'll do a vote for our next game. So that's going to be exciting. And for $5 a month, you get the right to vote on we do several votes throughout the year. And that's all I have to say about Patreon, except that one of the other great things about Patreon is no matter what you give, we thank you every single episode until we can't do it anymore because we go insane. For now, we're just going to do it. We're going to do it. Yeah. We love you. And here's our way of saying thank you to every single patron. Vanessa and I are going to trade off.
Let's see how long we can last. Insert clever name here.
Aaron Bachman.
Ari Kopavara.
And I will always cuddle you.
Andy Best.
Is assuming direct control of
Ward Childress.
I challenge the other Tracy to a duel to the pain.
Ron.
Go Cry Wolf.
Wash in the Wind.
Stu Skeel.
Alexander Jokic.
Jameson.
Justin Rash.
You make so sad.
Dylan Rowe.
Adam Zimmerman.
Robert J. Defendi.
Alex Dullard.
Robert M. Pullum.
Miguel Torres.
Cat Wars episode Fleas Revenge of the Hiss.
Mary, Queen of Scoffs.
Listen up, Squoot Stains.
Michael Crawford.
Sean.
Tom.
Race Jenkins.
Joseph.
Grey Code.
Kevin Walter.
Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy is
Soy Soda Pop.
Hexagon.
Knopford.
Stephen Paget.
Andrew Leinart.
Megan Sullivan.
Sean Walsh.
My gold Taco Bell PlayStation 5.
Oops, I forgot to update my name for Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is great, and I love it more than I love doing square roots. Thanks, Stan. We love you.
Ryan Miller.
Horizon Zero Dawn Part Deuce.
Mostly rational person.
Nick?
Dr. Fine. Say everyone's name.
I have no memory of this game.
Hales.
Randy P.
Matthew Casterline.
It's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time.
L'Oreal of the Claire.
Dr. Phil, the shoutouts with references to squid stains. At least it perturbs Jim.
Andy
Rubber Bear.
Jordan McNeil.
Devin Sloan.
Wedgecoon.
Christian Go.
Robert T.
Nathan Poirot.
Florian Jonas Kramer.
Tracy.
DeJethro.
Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021.
Cassandra.
Jake Dickerson.
Play Final Fantasy VIII. It is your fate.
I guess. But Matt Jorgensen.
Saving Sid.
Welcome to the cute boy jail, honk honk.
Eric Garby.
Lauren Prince.
The RPG Luminary.
William Westgard.
Cake Ninja.
Vanessa's mother's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
Grayson.
George Brady.
Chris Ryan.
Bree Girth.
Citrus C.
Aiden Marriott.
Grunt is the true baby fresh eyes.
It's true. Vanessa's tasteless COVID joke.
I get it, because you can't taste when you have COVID. Still just waiting for a dateable Krogan.
Arthur
Jonathan Ellsworth.
The ghosts of Johnny's murdered Fable husbands.
Fable is great, but so is Threads of Fate. Play it in 2021, or the Cuzzle will still drizzle gallons and gallons all over the Square Roots podcast.
Huxley Iguana.
Justin Ham.
Christopher Highness.
Romance Grunt.
Paul Bursch.
The Challenge is the official show of the Square Roots podcast.
David Green.
Jason Timms.
Aaron O'Toole.
Ashley T's Juicy Dumper.
Jack Mizell.
Ross Disney.
PJ Ents.
Andy Smith.
Joshua Bennett.
Hudson Roth.
Hat Ben. The Ben with a hat.
Oh my god, what is this game?
Fresh Eyes.
Cyril the Wolf.
Sean Gonzalez.
Vanessa's Cheese Plate Lovin' Mom.
TJ Miller's horny grandma impersonation.
Brian Pitt.
Samu Mitchell.
Eyes of the Shifter.
Ethan G. Pearson.
Jim's disturbingly attractive sorry girlfriend.
Cameron Shoei.
Dan.
Ross Hartley.
Gage La Charité.
We all know what Garrus is recalibrating.
Joshua W. Broxson.
Vanessa's mom's Crucible.
Isaac Wright.
WWE Mike G.
Matthew Newland.
Chris Wilder.
Armin Hammer.
Robot in Greece.
Sergeant Spaghetti.
Amanda Douglas.
Chris Penyak.
Chief Hazard built a hungry for bibliodeos.
EP.
Tyler Petty.
Send us an email. You know our email address. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. If you don't want to do that, come over to our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. It's a very good group. Or you can tweet at us at Square Roots Pod.
And if you want to ask us for a Discord, ask us for a Discord. We got a Discord.
Oh yeah, I go on there sometimes.
And Vanessa hates Discord.
I hate Discord, but I still go on there sometimes just for you.
Also, I was thinking maybe next weekend we could do an Among Us game.
That would be fun. We haven't done one of those in a while.
Yeah, and that game is a lot of fun. Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And thanks to Ro Panuganti and Lord Biff for letting us use their cover of Mass Effect 2 Suicide Mission. Follow them on YouTube. There's plenty of links in the show notes.
Thank you for joining us for this all DLC episode of Mass Effect 2. Remember, next week we finish the game. In the meantime, for the Square Roots Podcast, I'm Vanessa.
I'm Johnny.
And we are Vanessa and Johnny.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Oh, Vanessa cut off.
Yeah.
Oh. Went, bah.
Well, I guess the show's over.
Well, show's over. Bye, friends. Goodbye. I do not sound like a children's show host.
Helping my sister come with me.
Now, I don't like to link to our current political actors or very recently current political actors, but the whole Miranda's dad and her reminds you a lot of Trump being on Howard Stern talking about his daughter.
Yeah.
Should I just delete that?
Yeah.
Okay, but it really does.